for the Wiki. So I was actually at this office. So yeah, really glad to be back here in the first time for the 7 years actually. Yeah, it's been 7 years since I left. But yeah, so wow, it's blocked the whole screen. How? Oh yeah, thanks. So yeah. So anyways, yeah. So my background is developer myself. Like I've been doing the software development for 10 years. Working in the other three different countries: Japan, Singapore, and United States, San Francisco. Yeah. Then finally ended up founding my own startup, which is called Autify. Then now I'm here today. So yeah. So what we do, let me see. What we do is, oh yeah. So like oh yeah. So it's a little bit slow. Yeah. So I founded this company back in 2016 in San Francisco. Then first 2.5 years, I actually like struggle a lot, like pivoted like 8 times. Then finally I arrived at this business back in 2019. Then now the teams get scaled into like 80 people. Yeah. So like we launched our platform back in 2019 October, and then we closed the Series A 2021 October. Then yeah, so what we do is the automating the end-to-end testing, software engine end-to-end testing automation. So like UI test basically backed by AI. Yeah, so we are the no-code solution so that anyone can automate, and then also the AI to maintain the test scripts. So that's what we do, and then we provide the both like a web application testing as well as the mobile native app testing. Yeah, so you guys can automate those kind of testing. Then yeah, we got supported by the like those like variety of customers, including like from startups to large enterprises. Yeah, so that's what we do. Yeah, so that's about the little bit of my introduction. So like speaking of the tech talk, so I'm gonna talk about a little bit of the technical thing about the software development. So quality and agility, that's what I'm gonna talk about today. So quality and agility. So first of all, like agility is very important nowadays because the competition is getting stronger and stronger. So you need to move fast, right? So in terms of like developing the software, you need to be agile. You need to ship faster than your competitors, right? So like and also need to constantly update your software to entice the users, customers' needs. Then at the same time, the quality is also important. Like the company like Rakuten, like a large company, need to meet a certain standard of the quality to satisfy the user's need. So need to win the customer trust. Then also we need to minimize the risk, right? So yeah, need to achieve both. But if you are like a developing software, have you experienced like like a development takes too much time than expected? Maybe always happens. Then like find bugs every time you ship the code, right? Or like lots of tests. You don't have enough time to test everything, right? Or like sometimes the bugs were identified by the user report. That should be prevented beforehand, but sometimes it happens. So maybe if you are like involved in the software development, you have experienced some of them. I believe. I mean, I've been doing the tens of years of software development, and I experienced everything. So, but I would say in that situation, if you experience like some of them out of the those kind of things, like I would say like agility and quality is in a trade-off. Yeah. So you go after the agility and then the quality gets lower, or if you go after the quality and then the agility gets lower. So it's in a trade-off, right? So I actually map into those like 4 sections, like this horizontal is the quality line from low to the high, and then this like the vertical line is for agility, the low and high. So if you like if your quality is very low, but like going after the agility, this is here. Like if you are chasing the higher quality and then agility is low, like this is here. So like in terms of the stage of the software development, like you might have to choose, like let's say for the early stage of the product, you should like prioritize agility rather than quality, because like what you are building might not fit into the market, right? So like even if you go after the quality, like it doesn't really matter, right? So if user is not really satisfied with your product, it doesn't mean anything. Like it's not gonna be the business. So you need to ship faster to look for the user needs, right? So like in that case, you just need to go with the agility rather than quality, right? It's no. Oh yeah, it works. Yeah. On the other hand, like if your product is like matured a little bit, like adapted into the market after 1 or 2 years, then like at some point you need to like prioritize a little bit more for the quality, because you have the ability of the quality, right? So in that case, like you start focusing on the how to make your like, then like if you go after, it goes down, because like you introduce the like a longer QA process, like which you didn't have before. So introduce QA, longer QA process, take more time to test a lot of things. Then some like at some point agility goes down. So in that case, I would say like right. So you go after agility and then quality goes down. You go after the agility and the quality goes down. Yeah, but that's not the best case. Oh yeah, new one. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. Okay. Yeah. So I mean, you want to of course like achieve both, right? You want to aim for the both agility and quality. Yeah. So like this elite status. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So so like this could be this wouldn't be avoidable based on the stage of the product. But yeah, at some point, like you need to aim for the being elite. So how to meet both agility and quality? So like why it's gonna be the trade-off? Because like if you go agile, like the testing, like amount of the tests, like linearly increases, right? So like agile development is like releasing the small feature like in a weekly basis or something like that. But like once you deploy, like let's say in a week, the first week you deploy the feature A, then second week you deploy the feature B. Then in that case, like you might test the only feature B, but because of the feature B, that would affect the feature A. So in the ideal case, like you need to test everything, right? But at some point, like if you like got the tons of features, you cannot test everything. Then you kind of get stuck. Like you don't have like lots of time to test everything. Like let's say week 4, you need to test everything. Otherwise, you cannot make sure if the feature A is still working fine or not. Yeah. So that is the challenge of the agile development, I would say. So I would say like so that's why you get stuck into the trade-off. Like you either slow down your recycle because testing takes so much time, or just accept the risk of the failure. You cannot test everything, so you just kind of like give it up for test everything. So I would say like automation is not optional. So without automation, you need to you're gonna be in the trade-off between the quality and agility. So that's why yeah, I would say testing automation is now required. for the Agile development. Yeah. Then so yeah, to to achieve the elite status, like utilizing automation is definitely necessary. So like being elite, like need to automate a lot of things, not only testing, I would say, like, automate a lot of things in the software development lifecycle. Yeah. So yeah, then the question is how to automate. Yeah. So how to automate? First of all, like, I'm not really sure, like, how many of you guys engineer here, but like, then maybe you are writing unit test, maybe no. But like, if you, like, let's say, if you cover like more than 50% of the unit test, then maybe you are in a good shape. So there's the testing pyramid definition, right? So like it's pretty popular, like a pyramid. Maybe some of you guys have seen this before, but like this is the amount of the volume for the testing. Like a unit test has to be the, like has to be the number one coverage. So you have this volume of the unit test, and then on top of that, you have the integration test, then automated end-to-end test, then manual end-to-end test. Yeah, so like the in a good shape, like this, you can draw this kind of like a beautiful pyramid, right? So like ideally saying, need to start from like a unit integration test. Yeah, writing bunch of unit tests first, and then writing the integration test and so on. Then like end-to-end test for both manual and automated to compensate what's missing from the unit and integration. So that's the ideal strategy. Ideal. But often the case, like you don't have enough time for like writing the test, writing unit tests. So I have personally also like experienced a lot of time of a lot of situation of like not so many unit tests, right? Code-based test. Yeah. So in that case, like there's another like a famous the graph which is called like ice cream cone. So like I've been seeing a lot of like a situation where like a low unit test, low integration test, and really heavily relying on the manual UI test, and sometimes like a no automation, automated end-to-end test. Yeah. So this like a manual testing is like a huge volume. Yeah. So I would say like, oftentimes we get trapped into this ice cream cone. That's the reality, right? So because you don't have enough time of writing the unit test, and then you just start with the manual test, then that could cover, but that would not sustainable. That wouldn't scale, right? Then like it may be very few automated end-to-end tests or like no end-to-end testing automation. Yeah. So that's the ice cream cone it's called anti-pattern, but I mean, oftentimes that's the reality. So how to convert this ice cream cone into this beautiful pyramid? That's the question, right? So how to tackle this ice cream cone? Yeah, how to eat this ice cream cone, right? So like, first of all, of course, need to start writing unit and integration test. But that wouldn't be enough, because like maybe your code base is a little bit, a classic that doesn't allow you to like write a lot of unit tests, right? So in that case, I would recommend to start from automating the end-to-end test, UI test, to make sure everything works okay from the from the UI perspective. Then at the same time, like so it's not really like just starting from the unit test. In reality, you should start both, like tackling the ice cream cone from the top as well as from the bottom, right? So you write the unit test as well as you write the automated end-to-end test. Yeah. So like if you have the enough coverage on the UI test automation, you can actually start rewriting your your classic code. Yeah. So like cracking this from the top and the bottom is important, I think. Yeah. So the question is, how you gonna automate the end-to-end testing? So if you have enough time of writing the end-to-end test code, then there's a lot of choice. Like you know, like a Selenium, Cypress, like Appium for mobile apps, like a Puppeteer, Cucumber, like a Playwright, the newcomer. Yeah. So lots of end-to-end testing automation frameworks. So like you can pick whichever that works for you. So there's plenty of choice. Yeah. But oftentimes you want to focus on like a product development, and you don't have enough time of writing the end-to-end test scripts, right? So in that case, like I've been seeing a lot of like the teams fall down into the pitfall of like going after the open source like Selenium, Cypress, like end-to-end testing automation framework, because of course it's coding required. You need to spend time of writing the code for the automation, right? Then also the maintenance is pretty hard, because if you go agile, like your UIs and features are constantly changed. So every time you change something, that breaks your testing automation, right? So the UI changes, then the automation really difficult to pinpoint the element because the element is moved around, right? So that is the maintenance headache. I've been seeing a lot of the QA teams struggle with maintain their test code because UI changes frequently. They spend like a 20 to 30% of their whole time for just maintaining their test script. Then also there's a tons of like browsers and devices, right? So like how to test against the like those different varieties. Yeah. So that's the challenge. So yeah, that's why we have actually implemented Autify. Yeah. So the no code is pretty important. Yeah. Because like you might not have enough time of writing the end-to-end test. So like going with the local no code solution would work because that could scale not only to developers but also like people who don't write code, right? And also the maintenance. So we actually implemented the AI to maintain the test script automatically by identifying the changes between the UIs. Yeah. Then also the cross browser thing, that's gonna be nightmare. So I mean, if you have experience writing the Selenium, like maybe you have experience that it's pretty challenging to make it cross browser, right? So the driver is different, like a driver for IE, driver for Chrome, it's all different. Like there's a tons of pitfalls. Yeah, so that's why we implemented the cloud-based extensive environment. Yeah. Anyways, yeah. So that will be one of the solution, I would say. Yeah. Then also we are AI based. I mean, I'm not just talking about us, but AI would help for the testing automation. So yeah, as I mentioned, like the maintenance, right? So because the UI changes a lot, like let's say the button was like changed and then like moved around. So like understanding the UI from the AI point of view gonna solve the problem. Yeah, so that's number one. And then also like so what we have implemented is kind of like so like the image recognition to identify if the checkbox is checked or not. So those kind of like image recognition could help too, right? So like this is like maybe if you are a developer, like you can imagine that how hard it is to assert against the if the checkbox is checked or not. Because like if the checkbox, if you implement it with HTML, you can just input type checkbox, right? But oftentimes it's not used. Like just like normal span tag or p tag with the CSS like a pseudo element or something like that to like make it check or not. Then how to assert against if this is check or not? Yeah. So that's why, but like us human being, like you can easily tell if this is check or not, right? By looking at the image, right? So that's why, yeah. So ML, image recognition would help, I would say. Yeah, so those kind of things, right? So yeah, we implemented lots of things, but yeah. Also like a regression test. Yeah. So we implemented the ML component to identify if the element is moved around or not. So, kind of mapping like, oh, this element is this element is this, like a changing this way or something like that. Yeah. Anyways. Yeah. So yeah, I'm with the agile, like this fast changing environment, definitely not only automating your end-to-end test, but also making it resilient with AI will be definitely very important point for the next decade. Yeah. So yeah, I think running out of time, right? Yeah. So I do have some slides after that, but I think I can share that slide later on. So how to measure the success. So yeah, maybe you have heard of the dollar metrics, which was read by Google. So dollar like a deployment frequency, lead time for changes, change failure rate, time to restore services. Like those are the 4 metrics, like the key metrics. So we're tracking 2 of them. Yeah, like track the weekly deployments as well as the change failure rate. Change failure rate is like the issue rate per deployment. So like it said that keep it below 15%. So like tracking those kind of 4 major metrics to like track your DevOps testing automation like a success. So yeah, to track your progress. Yeah. Anyways, yeah. So that's about me. That's from me. So yeah. Thank you so much. If you guys have any questions, I'm happy to answer. So thanks a lot. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yeah. Does anyone have any questions?
Hello. I have a little bit experience of writing the Selenium test, but you mentioned that your AI can track the change.
Change, yes.
Can track the change. So how you track AI's tracking change period? Let's say if the AI detected blue button change to a red button, how you track that? Thank you.
We are actually. Oh yeah. No, thanks. Yeah, thanks a lot. Yeah, thanks for asking. Yeah. So like now we actually filing the patent for the technology, but we are using like lots of different information surrounded by the related data, right? So like if you like go with Selenium, you like identify the element by the element locator, right? So maybe XPath or CSS select, but it's just one side of information. So what we do is collecting all the information around the element, like let's say position, size, class name, IDs, or text inside of the element, and also like a sibling, parent, child, to understand what's the element. Yeah. So is it like an input text box, or is it just a simple button with the sign up or something like that, right? Then like we kind of calculate the similarity score based on that information. So if there is exactly same element exists, we can immediately pinpoint, oh, this is the element. Like if the locator is not changed, we can just pinpoint element by the locator. But if that moved around, like let's say change that color, move from the left to the top, the left to the right, then we use the AI algorithm to calculate the similarity score, then gets the element, which is the most, the closest from the original one. Yeah, so that's how we use it. May it make sense? Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Do you have any more questions? Okay. Yeah. Anyone else have any more questions? Right. Yeah. If not, yeah. Thank you so much for your sharing today, Ryo. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me. Thanks a lot. So actually, like I brought my the